Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron getting ready for Sunday's big game against the Denver Broncos. Chargers, of course, looking to finish the season on a hot note. Hopefully, if that's the case. The weird thing is the hot note for Charger fans when the season's over is going to be that they lost every game. So they end up with a great draft pick. At the same time, we spoke about this last week. It's tough to root against your team and don't expect Charger fans to do it, especially when they're facing a team inside their division like the Denver Broncos. And guys, we'll start off, right off with the Denver Broncos because guess what? Things started off really bad. Things looked really good for that team. Like this is a playoff team, and all of a sudden, man, Sean Payton's coach of the year. To all of a sudden, things couldn't be worse for the Denver Broncos. And all three of us are here because we're loving it. We're loving every single minute of it. That the Denver Broncos not only are in trouble in 2023, but they are in trouble for a few years to come because there's nowhere to go except up, as they say. Because it's my opinion, Josh. There's one guy on that roster that's worth keeping, and that's Patrick Surtain Jr. Everyone else, it's a complete train wreck in basically the Mile High City.
Is that what Sean Payton wants, though, to bring in all of his new guys? Is this what he's looking to do? Come in for Russell Wilson as his coach and then kick him out? Was that the whole plan? Or did he actually like Russell Wilson from the beginning? Because my understanding is that he knew who he was getting as his quarterback. Did he not understand what Russell Wilson was when he got there? That's the part I'm really confused about, Mario.
So lost. Like, did you not understand what you're getting yourself into? It was painted all last year with Nathaniel Hackett. Here it is. Writing's on the wall. It's in English, not in Spanish, buddy. If it is Spanish, use Google Translate, pal. And it was the absolute nightmare. We said earlier, I think a couple weeks ago, that this is a year from hell from the Chargers. This is a year from Satan's butt. Like, I don't even know for the Broncos. Like, this is bad. $85 million in dead cap money when he cut his ass in March. Good luck with that. Good luck trying to build anything with what you're going to do right now. It's terrible. There's no bright side. Maybe the bright side is Sean Payton gets on a Peloton. Maybe like that's your bright side. Like, oh, he looks pretty good. Like, it's nothing. It's a disaster. It's over for the Broncos. Good luck trying to reconstruct everything. And that owner's got to be pretty happy to pay this guy all this money and to still come up short and not even make the playoffs in the 2 years that he's been there.
Complete disaster. So the ownership group for the Broncos, for people who aren't aware, it's Stan Kroenke's sister. So the guy who owns the Rams, his sister owns the Broncos, and the Broncos are a mess. This is going to be the 8th straight year they haven't made the postseason. Fantastic. Again, since they beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning had nothing left in the tank and the defense won the Super Bowl against Cam Newton and the Panthers, the Broncos haven't done anything. And so right when it looked like maybe guys are starting to figure it out and turn it around, they aren't. It's a disaster. And you go, how many guys on that roster would other teams want? It's time for Jerry Jeudy to get a fresh start. It's not working in Denver as far as the quarterback situation. As you mentioned, $85 million of dead cap money. You lose your draft picks that go to Seattle. So arguably the worst trade in the history of the NFL between the Seahawks and the Broncos. Fantastic deal for the Seahawks, who made a terrible deal a few years earlier for Jamal Adams, where you're going, oh my God, that's the worst deal ever in the NFL. And guess what? Seattle's involved in another one. This time they win. So the Broncos, again, struggling. They're 7-8 right now. And they've decided that, kind of like the Derek Carr treatment, hey, we're going to send you home. But so far, we haven't heard they're sending Russell Wilson home. I don't know why you would keep him around at all. Get him out of the building. You made it clear he's going to be gone in March. Jarrett Stidham is the guy that's going to be quarterback this Sunday against the Chargers. Stidham, you remember, of course, with the Patriots, with the Raiders. They gave him $10 million for 2 years. So basically $5 million a year is great if that's your quarterback for next year. Just financially, that works out good with the cap. The deal is the Russell Wilson contract is going to handcuff this organization for years to come. So Sean Payton, looking back at, didn't you know what you're getting into, what you guys said, if he would have waited one more year, worked for Fox one more year on TV, and he would have waited for Staley to get fired, he probably would be head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers and would have his franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert.
We said on the show about a month ago when the Broncos looked good, man, we should have went with Sean Payton. I don't feel that way anymore. Sean Payton has the highest highs and the lowest lows of all time. I cannot keep up with this guy. When things are bad for him, they're bad. And when they're good, they're good. I'm not sure how great of a coach he is And I take back what I said a month ago. I was like, this guy's the man. I don't know if he's the man. He pisses people off at a different type of level. People in the Saints organization kind of hated his guts when he left. I don't understand where he ranks on the coaching spectrum of how great he is. And I don't know what his plan is for the Broncos. Who are you going to bring in as your quarterback to take over this terrible team with a terrible roster? Like Dave said, Patrick Surtain the second is the only player on the team that you could really build around. I don't know who else on that team you'd want. They just got rid of Kareem Jackson out of nowhere because they're tired of his personal fouls and kicked him back to the Houston Texans. This team is confusing. If I was a Broncos fan, I'd have a headache. They're hard to keep up with. And I don't feel bad for them at all. They're a team I always hate. And for Russell Wilson, what do you think his future is? Do you think he's a starting quarterback somewhere else? Do you think he's going to be a backup till he retires? What do you think, Mario?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, could he just retire? Like, let's be honest, he's not a guy that wants a backup role, right? Like, he has a couple Super Bowl appearances. He's known to want his own office in a freaking building. Like, this guy has an ego, and he's not going to really take being in the back seat of any type of situation. And what teams really want him? Like, I was reading an article today going, the Giants are an option. The Raiders was an option. I think came out of the other team. I think Commanders was an option. I was like, but why would any of those teams want him? Why would Mark Davis want to bring in another quarterback that's mid? Why would you want to do that and get stuck in the same cycle that you're in? Why would the Commanders want him when you have new ownership that wants something quick and something new and fresh? Why would you want that? And he doesn't really make sense for anyone. Why would the Giants want him? Why Brian Daboll does not want him?
The Giants made a terrible decision. They gave Daniel Jones big-time real quarterback money, and Daniel Jones isn't a big-time real quarterback. They can't afford him.
No,
the
they
Giants
can't
straight
afford
out couldn't afford him if they wanted him.
And why would they even go to pay him that much money with Daniel Jones when he got paid both? And then who you gonna get for Whiteout? Darren Waller's not it. He sucks.
No.
And in the month of December too, by the way, before he gets benched and probably kicked out of Denver, and hopefully doesn't listen to any future music. His lowest QB rate of the season was the month of December, 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. His completion percentage, which is also the lowest this year, all in the month of December, and he hit about 4 different lows with the Denver Broncos, Dave. So I don't know where he goes from here, but I got to tell you this, something tells me it's not up.
I'll give you 3 teams. You guys tell me if you think him with 3 teams, all right? Just off the top of my head. I'm not like I did any research on this. I'm just going to throw 3 teams at you. If you're the Patriots, would you have interest in him?
No. You have too high of a draft pick.
Okay. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, you have any interest in him?
They're dumb enough.
Yeah, they might do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have any interest in him?
They might do that too. They're the 17th pick right now.
Yeah, you aren't going to get your quarterback at 17.
Him and George Pickens would be a very funny argument.
I'm just not a Kenny Pickett fan. That's why I say that. And I'm not a fan of Atlanta's situation either. But anyway, those are the 3 teams that jumped in my head immediately of going, where would he end up? He's not going to retire. He's not going to go out this way. His ego is tremendous. Almost like he doesn't remember anything that's happened in Denver. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, you think at some point you go, man, I really need to pick this up, or what happened to me, to the point of the way he talks is insane.
Was he a punk when he's with the Seahawks, or is that just a new thing?
His teammates say he was.
He was, right? He wouldn't give his phone number out to his teammates like Richard Sherman said on TV. How is he going to be judged, Mario? When you look at Russell Wilson's career, is he a guy that benefited from a situation in Seattle where you had one of the best defenses in NFL history? You had a great running back in Marshawn Lynch, and you were the quarterback that just didn't screw things up. Granted, he made great plays. We all saw Russell Wilson make great plays and win a lot of games. But you also see Geno Smith walk in and win a lot of games for the Seahawks. Was he just part of a system, or was Russell Wilson going to be remembered as an all-time great quarterback?
It's really sad to say, but I really don't think he'll be remembered as an all-time great quarterback, Dave. Like, it's too much of what's happened, I think, in the past 2 years where it really kind of dings his image. And you sit back and go, all right, in his last 2 seasons, he's had some of his lowest numbers, and it's when he left Seattle. And every time we're in Seattle, every football guy, insider, whatever have you, analyst, was like, they gotta let him do more. Gotta let him do more. The offense has restricted him. And then he gets to Denver. It's like, dude, this guy, he can't even work a microwave. He shouldn't cook. Like, he's not good. Like, this guy's not anything. And I think you sit here now and you go, he's way past his prime. He doesn't know how to play past his prime. He's got 2 years of no playoff appearances. and he sits there, very rich man. I really do think he should just walk away. Just walk away. No one to fold him. Right here, Dave. No one to fold him.
Yes.
He's got a 7-2 offsuit. Fold the living hell out of it. Get the hell out. But it's just sad because I think when you look back at his legacy, people aren't gonna think of the Super Bowls right away. They're gonna think of these last 2 years and how just awful it's been for Denver.
No, it's been bad. He's going in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, do we agree that he's okay? He's a Hall of Famer as far as being looked at as one of the greatest of all time. No, I mean maybe the greatest Seattle quarterback of all time, but he should have won a second Super Bowl. And maybe that's not his fault that he threw that interception. They should have handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, but they should have won two. The Seahawks should have won 2 Super Bowls. And it's kind of crazy that the only one he did win was the one that was against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos situation, which obviously, as Charger fans, we sit there and go, okay, what's going on inside our division at all times? It's fantastic news. I mean, it just, when this news came down over the last 2 days of what is going on in Denver, I couldn't have been happier. I mean, I hate that team. I love the fact that people are blaming Taylor Swift in Kansas City and the Raiders are a train wreck. It's like, as bad as the Chargers are, that you can see that in front of you, the road isn't that tough. It's not like they're in the division with the Ravens and the Bengals and the Browns and the Steelers, right? You're in a division where you're going all of a sudden, hey, everyone else is a mess too. Maybe we can fix our mess before they fix their mess.
Is the AFC West the worst division in the NFL?
I don't even know how that happened, which is crazy because a year and a half ago, we were saying this is the best division of all time.
We were.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah.
NFC South sucks. That is a bad division. God, I got to think about this. AFC West might be the worst division, Mario. I mean, the Bucks look not terrible. Saints do things every now and then. I mean, maybe they're on the same level, but the AFC West is a god-awful division. I have good Charger news, actually, which is going to make you guys happy, which you probably already figured this out. But the draft order as we sit right now would be Bears number 1 with the Carolina pick. You got the Cardinals number 2, Commanders number 3, Patriots 4, Giants 5th, and then Chargers 6. My good news is that Sam Howell got benched. That means that the Commanders could be looking for a quarterback, which would mean the Chargers have another option of getting another player that is not a quarterback. So you could get Marvin Harrison Jr. with that 6th pick, which is really hard to believe because that guy everybody's projecting as the best player in the draft overall, even higher than Caleb Williams by a lot of people's eyes. So if the Chargers could end up with Marvin Harrison Jr., that would be the most exciting thing to head into the new season, especially if you land a coach like Jim Harbaugh. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 110%. And you look at, like you said, the Washington Commanders will be on the looks for a QB. That's now what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of the top 5 need QBs. As we stand right now, I'm counting the Bears in this one. So 4 of the top 5. And who knows, maybe Arizona's sitting there going, hey, we're going to move on from Kyle Murray.
You're hearing
I don't know if that, it's not the craziest thing for it to happen. And that's all screams great news for Chargers. I think what also screams great news for Chargers too is there's a lot of teams below them. They're also pretty desperate for a QB. Falcons, pretty desperate. Saints, pretty desperate. Raiders, pretty desperate. We just talked about them. Denver Broncos, very, very desperate. All these teams, Dave, are very desperate for a QB. And if you're the Chargers, you sit here and go, yeah, we just need a offensive weapon. And we just need the best one on the board. So all you guys can go keep chasing after the QB hype. And we're just going to sit here and focus on Marvin Harrison Jr. and give him a nice baby blue jersey when he comes to us.
All right, let me ask you this question since it's fun to play GM. I don't know where the Raiders pick right now, but I know the Raiders were supposed to pick number 10 until they beat the Chiefs. If you're the Raiders, would you offer your number 1 overall pick for Kyler Murray? And would the Cardinals do it?
Go ahead, Josh.
You want Kyler Murray?
If you're the Raiders, you're desperate for a quarterback.
They have the 13th pick right now. The Raiders do.
If I was the Raiders, I would do that pick. I'd do that trade.
Why? If you're the Raiders, why would you do that?
I don't think Kyler Murray is that bad. Honestly, I think he needs a fresh start, but I don't think he's that bad.
I don't
his
think
numbers
it's a bad
are terrible. Idea. Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers right now. They're not that bad. That team sucks that he's on too.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you, with the 13th pick, what the Raiders have right now,
I mean,
then
you
yeah,
get a
you probably
franchise
would.
quarterback. It's a tremendous amount of money that he makes,
Yeah,
obviously.
he's just a punk,
So-
dude. He's just a punk.
Yeah.
I do not like him. I've never liked Kyler Murray, but if that's the best quarterback you can get for that spot, then yeah, I
Yep.
guess maybe that makes sense. As Mario just said right now, there's teams below the Chargers that need a quarterback. That means that the Chargers could probably trade down and get more draft picks if teams are willing to move up to get a quarterback. Chargers actually
Yes.
found themselves in a great situation in terms of getting draft value. If you could trade down and get 2 first-round picks, holy hell. If you could get like a Brock Bowers and then
An
this
offensive
is just a
lineman.
fantasy, yeah, an offensive lineman or like Kool-Aid McKinstry if he somehow fell, the Chargers would have the best first round of the whole draft. So that'd be something really interesting to watch. Chargers should absolutely consider drafting down. There's so many players that are not quarterbacks that are going to be game changers in the NFL. I think the Chargers should absolutely entertain it.
Oh, 100% entertain it. And I think too, when a GM does trade down, you get kind of like those future first picks that also buys a GM time. You know, where like the next year you're under a microscope, but you can go, hey, but I made this trade with the insert team, and so we have 2 first-round picks coming up this year. I can still do something. Like it gives the GM kind of more comfortable, a little bit more wiggle room. I think it's going to be pretty huge for them in the spot that they're in, and it's a tough spot the Chargers are in. I guess thanks Brandon Staley, right? Like it's like, hey, you sucked, but you sucked good enough where like you're putting us in a pretty good spot. So like, thanks for being an idiot. Put that
If
on a
I'm
t-shirt.
if I'm the new GM of the Chargers, I'm telling Dean Spanos, you got to give me a chance to hit a home run here. Like you hired me for this job. Let's get everybody excited. I need a can't miss. And so let's say Marvin Harrison Jr. is there. Well, I'm not trading that out of that pick. I don't care if I'm getting 2 first rounders. I want Marvin Harrison Jr. Brock Bowers, tight ends usually aren't taken really high, but Josh has said a million times the best tight end he's ever seen. He's a difference maker. If you watch college football and watch Georgia's a completely different team when he was playing. The interesting thing is someone asked this question on YouTube. I apologize for not giving you credit. Who do you take? Would you take Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers? And I wrote back, I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. A couple of reasons. One is Jim Harbaugh is the coach. I think it's fantastic that a Michigan man is coaching an Ohio State guy, which drive Buckeye fans crazy. 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. is, a freak, and he comes from a Hall of Fame, dad who obviously has taught his son very well because the guy's by far the best wide receiver in college football. The only thing that's weird about that is if you ask most NFL people, would you rather have a star tight end or a star wide receiver? They always say tight end because it's hard to match up for, a star tight end for the defense to have success. And you've seen it, of course, with Kelsey and Mark Andrews and different guys in the league. And you've seen it, for years past, even with Antonio Gates. But for me, I would take Harrison Jr. over Bowers just because I think you owe it to Justin Herbert. And look, our guys are getting old. Mike Williams might not be back. Keenan Allen might not be back. And Quentin Johnson is a bust right now.
Doesn't that bother you to like a different type of level that you're going to be drafting or considering drafting a receiver in the first round when you just drafted a receiver in the first round?
Messed up. That you whiffed.
Dude, holy hell, dude. That just like it makes me want them to draft Brock Bowers just to say like we're not going to give up on Quentin Johnson just yet. If you bring in a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. and you're Quentin Johnston, do you think they gave up on me? Do you lose even more confidence? You don't think that?
He's not thinking that. He's not smart enough to think that. He's thinking they're getting someone to team up with me on the other side. This is the new generation for years to come. If it wasn't for me and Marvin Harrison Jr., we're the future. We're the new Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. That's what he's thinking.
Ooh,
he's not thinking
that's
I
actually
suck.
a good point.
He's not thinking I suck. I'll tell him he sucks.
Yeah, we know you will. Yeah, in case he's wondering. Do you think Eli Manning's going to call Marvin Harrison Jr. and say, hey, I know your dad pretty well. Are you sure you want to go to the Chargers? Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Oh, that's funny. It worked for me.
It worked out. Now, Chargers, I mean, you can't miss if you go Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr., knock on wood. Like, I really think those are the 2 most sure picks that aren't quarterbacks. Actually, I think those are just the 2 most sure players in the draft. I would have told you Caleb Williams, but not anymore, dude. Every day I see something about Caleb Williams that makes me like cringe. This guy does weird things that freak me out. I would definitely draft those 2 guys if they're available. And Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback for Alabama, he wears number 1. If you guys aren't familiar with his game, watch him against Michigan. He is very good. He's the most lockdown corner in college football. And that's definitely going to be someone that's in play for the Chargers. It's an obvious need. We all know that the Chargers need a cornerback desperately. If he's available, the Chargers get him. I wouldn't be upset there either.
I'll never be upset about a corner. I mean, they desperate. I'm done watching Michael Davis. The day we can just put him aside and go, buddy, you're done. You only know how to hold and give up touchdowns. It's about all you know how to do. Congrats with that pick against Denver. Like, up yours. I'm all for that. Kool-Aid, and by the way, he's so fun to watch. Like, there's nothing better in college football or just in any game when they do the solo shot on the corner versus wideout and the corner wins. I love that. It's like in basketball when you see the defender pick up the point guard full court and then he gets the ball loose, he dives on the floor. That makes me want to punch a hole through the wall. I get so fired up. Like, I love that. Like, let's go. Yeah, Chargers have a lot of different routes to go, a lot of different routes to do this, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I'm just a little sad here, Dave, that I really thought earlier this year, Chargers versus Broncos, New Year's Eve, God, it's going to be a really good game. But now we have Easton Stick versus Jared Stidham. Jared Stidham, not Jared. Jared, whatever. Jared. It's still going to suck. And the over-under, by the way, 36.5. And I'd still go, I would tease that to 30.
We'll get into our picks in just a second here. It's it's kind of crazy when you look at the draft, and this is where we're at looking forward to. The one thing when you talk about trading back and getting picks, Josh, which this team obviously needs roster help. If you look at the Chargers, I mean, and every team has this where they've missed picks. But like the Chargers, when they were struggling 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and they missed on Ed Reed, let him go right by, and Troy Polamalu, and then you cut Rodney Harrison, who's trying to get in the Hall of Fame right now, and you're just going, what the hell? I mean, these are Hall of Famers you just let pass up. And so that's a big reason why I think you need to get a star player from college football right now. And it's funny, as Josh said, pay attention to Kool-Aid McKinstry. Fantastic player. I know people don't pay attention to defense in college enough. Maybe people remember, of course, Aiden Hutchinson got a lot of hype when he was at Michigan, but otherwise people pay attention to the offensive guys a lot. True story, Mario, I think it was July 3rd this year. We were driving through downtown Nashville. I'm with Josh. He just rolls down his window out of nowhere and screams out Kool-Aid out of the car window. And the guy turns around and goes, "What's up, man?" And turned to just like, how the hell did he recognize Kool-Aid McKinstry just walking down the street in a city that he doesn't even live in? And it was Kool-Aid McKinstry. Remember that, Josh?
Yeah, I said this before. It's one of the few things I'm good at is I can recognize people. I don't know why, but it's weird. I can't remember anyone's name. Yeah, I can't remember anyone's name, but I can notice famous people, I guess, on the street. That was weird. I do remember that. Yeah, and my girlfriend's like, downtown. "Do you just call a guy Kool-Aid?" I'm like, "That's his name. I swear to God, that's his actual name." I'm like, she's like, that's a weird thing to say to that guy. And I'm like, no, that's actually his name. Another player to watch in the Alabama-Michigan game that's going to be a top 10 pick is number 15 defensive end for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Dallas Turner. He might be the best defensive player in all of college football. He might be better than Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't know if the Chargers are going to go with another edge rusher, but those are the two guys on the Alabama defense that I'd watch. Number 15, Dallas Turner. Number 1, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'm excited for the draft, and I know it's a little too early to be excited during the season, but when you have a bad record like this, there's nothing else to look forward to but the draft. I'm more excited for the draft than I am for the game this weekend, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Dude, 110%. This game's going to make my eyes bleed. This is going to be the most depressing game I've ever watched in my life. Like, I think I'm just going to try to bet everything on the under. If the under doesn't hit, it's like, all right, well, this is a crappy start to the new year. And then I'm going to go ahead and bet Bama to win the college football playoffs. So I don't know if I want to do it for you guys or against you guys. Like, to do it to cheer with you or to do it. Well, thanks for that. Edit out. Do it for you guys to lose. But I guess with me doing extra editing, that was just what you decided to do right there. So thank you.
Okay. I don't know why you have to edit that. If you could say it on TV, why can't you say it on this podcast?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why? Hey, I thought we were going to bet. I thought we were going to talk about the game. Or like, are you really going to bet on Michigan or Alabama? Which one are you going to go with?
If Bama's still plus money, I did bet Bama earlier. I got Bama. I think I got it when it first opened. I can't remember which.
All right,
sports book it is.
while you look this up, I want to say something. So Alabama and Michigan are both in LA training for the game, and they went to Disneyland yesterday. And Jim Harbaugh and Nick Saban were together. And Jim Harbaugh, let me make myself clear. I do want him as the Chargers' next head coach. He is a dork. Everything about him is weird, and his interview was strange. And they asked him what he thought about Alabama, and he said, "I like their quarterback. He reminds me of our backup quarterback," which I thought was insane to say. But he's an interesting guy, man. He's definitely different. He would be way different than any coach the Chargers have ever had. Everything about him is quirky and weird, and maybe that's what the Chargers need. But him saying that the Alabama quarterback, who's better than his quarterback, reminds him of his backup quarterback was the funniest thing I've seen all week. Second funniest thing I've seen all week behind Jair Alexander going out for the coin toss when he wasn't a captain.
And almost blew it. It almost chose the wrong thing that they wanted. Shout out to him.
Crazy. That is a crazy story.
Yeah, and he's suspended. And he can't go against Justin Jefferson in the biggest game of the season. Idiot.
That's crazy as hell. That's the craziest damn thing. That at the NFL level, some guy went running out there to call the coin toss that wasn't supposed to be on the field. That's so bizarre.
Yeah, and his justification was that his coach didn't understand that he was from Charlotte.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I like that.
We all know guys like that. That's what's frustrating. We all know guys like that. That it's always them first. Always that I guy. Holy cow,
That's
man!
good stuff,
That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Bama is still plus 100 on the money line against Michigan, so still plus money.
Okay.
Plus 1.5.
What's the spread?
1.5
in favor of. I'm sorry,
Michigan.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah,
all right, whatever.
Also, just this game too. I'm really trying to bet against Bama when Michigan runs their game. That scares the crap out of me. Like I don't know. That's like the worst idea ever. That's like fighting a war on two different fronts, man. Just don't do it. You're just gonna lose. That's what like Michigan's gonna do. What was he? I had another thing. Harbaugh's also the interview he had where they're asking about the Charger job. Just to go into more of just how unique Harbaugh is. The dancing around that answer was the craziest dance around I've ever seen in my life. Like if I'm the PR person, I would just sit there and go, just anytime shut your mouth. Anytime shut your mouth. Just anytime move on to the next question. Just anytime shut up. And like it looked like he just didn't know where to go. And I'm like, dude, just shut your mouth. It looked like he just ate something and it had a little something special in it and it was hitting him at that moment.
Dude, I tell you what, it is worth it for him to for the audience, if you do not know what Mario's talking about, look it up. It is crazy when you look at Jim Harbaugh being asked about his interview with the Chargers, because he spoke with the Chargers this week, and he just picks up like the middle of a sentence and just keeps talking, and then they ask the same question again, and he starts in the same spot. Like I really wanted a media member to say, "Hey, I think Harbaugh has suffered a stroke. Somebody call 911." Just because it was bizarre as hell, but you knew what he was going to do, that he had that plan. He knew that question was coming and he had that plan. He kept answering it the same way, but not at the beginning of a sentence, right in the middle of a sentence. I've never seen anyone do that before. That's pretty tough to do, to just start talking in the middle of a sentence.
He's an art form. He's
something else.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a quote machine.
Yeah.
He's a quote monster.
He is a quote machine.
And I keep thinking, who did he fool 2 times? That's all. That's all I keep thinking. Like, what the hell? I know
if you had to hang out with Jen or John, if you had to hang out with Jim or John, you're choosing John 10 out of 10 times. John seems cool. Yeah, John seems like a cool dude. Yeah.
Jim, but John says his brother's weird. That's what's my favorite part. That his brother calls him out for being the weirdest guy on the planet. I love that his brother says he had no friends growing up and still has no friends. Yeah,
that's such a mean thing to say. There's a story I remember hearing that I think John told, where like they were older and they were with their families in like the Florida and they're like the ocean, and they're asked like the question was, when's the last time you wrestled your brother? And he goes, like 4 years ago. Jim just stared at me in the ocean and he just took me down. And I was like, dude, you're a grown man and you're doing that. He's insane. But as he said, the human body craves contact. That's from Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. Funny thing is, you were just like fighting your brother like a week ago on Christmas.
No,
You know?
I'd beat his ass.
Okay.
Completely different thing.
Mario's not the head coach of Michigan, wrestling
That's
people in the
true.
middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I live in a studio in Chicago trying to do something. Completely different.
Completely different. Let's pick some games.
All right. Let's pick some games.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I'll give you the scores from last week. All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here you go. So last week, Mario and I, we were both 8-8. Josh had the
Mm.
big week. Josh was 11-5.
Let's go. Take it to the bank.
Oh, before we start, by the way, so while I was editing and doing my good job here for Bolt City and spending my after hours, and I cut out for people on the last show because I said Dan Campbell cried, and apparently that's when the FBI gets you. Listen, you guys were saying one was not crying, two. Lamar Jackson's not the MVP because he's 15th in rushing yards, tied for 14th in passing yards. QB ratings 8th in the NFL. The only thing he's first in is QB rushing yards. And he would be second in that, by the way, if Justin Fields was healthy all this year. Just wanted to get that out there.
Who's the quarterback of the best team in the NFL? Does that count for anything?
I mean, yeah, that's the argument for it, which I completely understand. But Tua could take that away from him this weekend.
Hey, let's go back.
Who's
to
your
what we
MVP?
said in this.
Right
Yeah,
now,
who
like
do you
I
think
hate to say it, but it's probably Christian McCaffrey. Because I think to be MVP, you gotta be dominant in every single category that you represent. And like Lamar is not that right now. Like the only thing he's dominant in is that he's on the best team in the NFL and he's the quarterback.
And he lost his best receiver. He lost Mark Andrews.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying
He has the best defense in the
let's-
league by a mile.
let's go back to what we said in the summertime. How remember any team in the league could have gone for Lamar Jackson, but everybody stayed away from him. Remember we
Yeah.
called collusion? I mean, dude,
Yeah.
how dumb do these teams look that are all desperate for quarterbacks right now? These guys should have made a run at Lamar Jackson. Anybody could have had him, but everybody stayed away from him.
Yeah. And shout out Brock Purdy for having the MVP literally in his hand. And he said, you know what? I'm going to throw 4 picks.
Yep. Yep. I had him on my fantasy team. It's great. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
Well,
pick those games.
All right. NFL week 17. Everyone can cry because we don't have a lot of football left. But in this absolute toilet bowl that we have, which the team is a color that represents a toilet, Browns Jets. Browns 7.5 point favorites in this one. Over under 34 on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. Josh, what do you have here? Because this is a big spread.
Yeah, I think it's way too big of a spread. Joe Flacco with a 7-point as a 7-point favorite when he wasn't even in the NFL a few weeks ago is crazy to me. The Jets defense I still think is pretty good. I'm gonna go Jets to cover. I don't know who's gonna win. Maybe Browns win this game because they're the better team, but I like the Jets to cover.
That's funny. It's a crazy game. This game's in Cleveland. Am I right on that?
Yep, in Cleveland.
Okay. Which is funny. Do you know this is the matchup, the first Monday Night Football game in history? I know it's Thursday, but you know it's a matchup of these two teams. Also,
Remember
Joe
you told me
Flacco.
you watched that.
What?
You watched that, right?
I didn't watch that.
Oh,
you
you
sure?
Why not?
I wasn't old. I wasn't old enough.
Oh, shoot, my bad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I thought you and Kennedy watched that together.
Me and Rosemary. All right, here we go. Browns and Jets. I'm going Browns. I think they're going to cover that spread right there, and I'm going Browns because Joe Flacco a little angry that the Jets said he couldn't play anymore.
I'm gonna go Jets because Sauce Gardner versus Amari Cooper after a big week. I think he comes down from heaven,
Okay.
and I think like you said, 7.5 points from a guy that was off the couch a couple weeks ago is a lot of points to me. Next one, probably the second best game of the weekend: Lions Cowboys. Cowboys 5.5 point favorites at home, and over under 53.5. Josh, can someone tell the Cowboys in Vegas that Jared Goff's not that bad indoors?
Yeah, no, Jared Goff's not that bad indoors. I think both these teams are pretenders, Mario, honestly. I don't think either team's as good as people make them out to be. I'm going to go the Lions win on the road. I think the Lions win this game.
So it's you said Cowboys favored by how many?
5.5.
That's a lot. All right, I'm going Lions as well. By the way, I know we didn't get into our playoff matchups. We're not going to end up doing it today. We'll knock it down next week on what it would be. But I know I know Mario especially because his family in Detroit. How bad do you want to see the Lions host the Rams in that matchup. Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit for the first time. I hope it works out that way.
Same. And that'd be so Detroit, like, too, if Stafford back in that stadium throws for like 5 touchdown passes and like 500 yards, where it's like, yeah, the third best player in the history you guys have ever had comes back and just rocks you at your first time being back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be
Pretty
great.
funny. I like Cowboys in this. I think they cover. And if they win this game, I'll try to cry in the next episode. I'll do what I can.
Cool. That'd be cool. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be really funny. All right. So keep tuning in for that. Tears of, I don't know. We'll figure that one out. All right. Patriots, Bills. Bills, 13-point favorites against the New England Patriots. Bailey Zappi starting at QB with big old Bill. Over-unders 40. Josh, do you think the Bills could cover this big spread?
Jeez, man. The Bills, I thought, looked very average to below average against the Chargers. Patriots looked above their heads. Man, I'll go Bills to cover just because the Bills absolutely need to win this game.
The game's in Buffalo. Is that correct?
It is in Buffalo.
Man, you know, it's funny. I'm gonna go Bills as well. It sounds kind of crazy to say that. Teams inside their division. Remember when Belichick like threw the ball 2 times in that game against the Bills and they didn't win the game? That was nuts.
Give me Pats to cover. 13's a lot of points.
It is a
I think
lot.
Bills are just gonna try to skate by.
Okay.
Next one. Falcons, Bears. Bears are 3-point favorites at home against Atlanta Falcons. Justin Fields could be playing against his next team next year, literally in this game with the Falcons. So what do you guys think for this one?
I'm going Bears.
Yeah, I like Bears in this too. Falcons stink. I mean, Bears stink too, but I like the Bears to win.
I think the Bears cover it because the only thing the Falcons can do is run, and the only thing the Bears can do is stop the run. So if they force Heineke it's Heineke back there.
Yes.
To throw the football, then I think Bears can control the clock with the run game and win this one and cover.
Okay.
Hey, you know what the record is, Dave? The Bears?
No.
6-9. On to the next
at
game. All right,
Nice.
Raiders, Colts. Colts 3.5-point favorites against the Las Vegas Raiders. Over under 43.5 in the great city of Indianapolis. So what do you guys think here?
I think this is one of the most interesting games of the weekend for sure. Colts and Raiders. Who would have guessed that this far into the season this would be such a big game? I like the Raiders. I think Gardner Minshew's declining fast, and I think the Raiders are playing well. So I like the Raiders to win the game.
I'm going Raiders too, and this is a big game. I mean, Raider fans, if you do the math, I know it's crazy looking for a bunch of miracles. The Raiders still have a chance. I'm going Raiders.
Because it's a hook, because of 3.5 and that hook right there, I'll take Raiders because I think Max Crosby is going to make Gardner Minshew rethink his whole life. I think the Colts win this game, but I don't think they can win it by more than 3 points. Rams Giants is the next one. This spread doesn't really make a lot of sense, I don't think. Rams 5.5-point favorites over the Giants. I thought they'd get closer to a touchdown. But Giants at home. I think Tyrod Taylor is the starting QB for this one, so you kind of have that. Yeah. DeVito, it's been fun, brother, but you're not a made man. So Rams 5.5-point favorites. What do you think, Josh?
I think the Giants are going to have a really hard time scoring, and the Rams offense looks pretty damn good. I think the Rams put up too many points for the Giants to keep up, and that they cover.
I want Josh on this. I'm going to the Rams as well. I think the Rams have become a really fun team to watch, which is weird because they look so bad against some other teams early in the season, especially against the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rams as well. I don't really see. I feel like the Giants, they got to pack it in. I mean, they got to do something over there. Next one's Cardinals, Eagles. Eagles 10.5-point favorites against the Arizona Cardinals. This is in Philly, home of the cheesesteak, and Rocky Balboa, fictional character. Josh Pele, what do you think?
I think the Cardinals cover. I think Eagles might be the most overrated team in the NFL. That defense stinks. Cardinals are awful, obviously, but I think 11 or 10.5, whatever it is way too much. And I think the Cardinals cover this game. Eagles probably win, but Cardinals cover.
I don't know why I keep sitting there thinking this is the week the Eagles go back to what I thought they were, but this is the week the Eagles go back to what I thought they were. Eagles win. and cover.
I don't feel comfortable. I just don't. The Eagles just have so much going on. I'm going to take the Cardinals to 10.5. Like every report. By the way, people talk about the Eagles, you would think they were 9 and 8 and 7 or 7 and 8, But it's like, oh, you're
Especially if
11
you
and
live in
4.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, jeez. But I don't know. That city, they've had it too good for too long. They deserved a little come down. All right, Saints Bucks.
Really, they haven't. Really, they haven't. Like they have not won jack in any sport. Those fans think the 76ers are going to win, the Phillies are going to win, the Eagles are going to win. None of them win.
Okay, but like, dude, the things I would do for a deep playoff run, like the things I would do.
Yeah, the more your heart breaks, though. When you're almost there and you can see the trophy, your heart breaks. It's hard.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, at least you have the in-season tournament and the Mickey Mouse Championship.
Are you going after my Lakers right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. The Bulls haven't been irrelevant in your lifetime. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
We had the youngest MVP in NBA history, buddy.
What the hell does that mean?
It's a record statistic.
What? Who cares? What?
Just saying.
Does he come over and share the trophy with you?
Fact or fiction?
Is it in your studio right now? Do you have Derrick Rose's trophy in your studio?
No, but I do have Dick Butkus's and Mike Ditka's signed helmet in here that I still need to get for my car. And
oh my God, it's gonna get
my
stolen.
dad. Yeah, it's gonna be put.
Get it
right
out of the
there.
car. What are you doing?
It's gonna be put right there. And every time we talk about tight ends, I'm gonna point at it. I'm gonna go Mike Ditka, greatest tight end.
Wait, you gonna hang it right on top of that bottle of Shout you have over your shoulder?
No, I'm gonna wear it actually.
Dude, I want you to wear it. What do we have to do to get you to do a show with you wearing the helmet?
If the Bears keep Justin Fields, I'll wear it for our whole offseason.
Oh.
I'll wear it the whole time.
I'll just take one show, not the whole offseason. People are gonna get confused. I'll take wearing a Bears helmet. It's a Charger show.
I'll take. Well, it's the old style. It's the old style. Like it's the gray face mask. Like it's the one that Butkus actually wore.
Is that right?
Yeah,
it smells great.
So I'll do it for a month of shows.
Go ahead.
All right.
Wait,
Saints. What?
Mario, Chargers need to root against the Bears because they need them to draft a quarterback, right? We have to root against the Bears. We need Justin Fields to suck.
Yes, desperately. Yes.
Okay, so rooting against the Bears from now on. Got it.
Yep.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Fact or fiction? Fact. All right. Saints Bucks is the next game. Bucks 2.5-point favorites against the New Orleans Saints. This could decide the division here, fellas. Over under 42.5. So who's going to take the NFC South miserable crown? The crown of poop.
Baker Mayfield is on fire, and the Bucks look pretty damn good. I like the Bucks to win this game and to cover.
Dude, I would bet this game, Mario. This is the first game you've mentioned where I'd say, okay, I'd put my money on this one. I'd go Bucks. Saints have been the most disappointing team in the NFL to me. I know that says a lot, but the Saints, looking at their schedule going into the season, I don't think had a playoff team on their schedule. I thought the Saints had a chance of going undefeated, and they are absolutely a joke. Head coach will be gone. They should got to figure a way to get rid of Carr. The whole team is a disappointment.
All right. I agree. I think it's Bucks easy. They're just hot right now, and the Saints have never been hot. Their O-line fights with their QB. They're not strong. Baker looks really, really good right now. I think he's going to be able to handle the Saints, and it's at home against Tampa Bay. I mean, at home in Tampa Bay, so I think he'll handle it. Another big spread with Jacoby Brissett leading out the Commanders. Washington at home, 13-point underdogs against the San Francisco 49ers. And I'll just go ahead and say this, fellas. 49ers are going to come out there and absolutely roll them. I think it's going to be like 20. I think it's going to be 20-0. I think the Niners are going to score that much, but I think it's going to be 20-0. Niners win.
I think the Niners put up 20 in the first quarter. That defense the Commanders have is really bad. I think the Niners are going to put up at least 40 points in this game, and they're going to cover easy.
I agree. I would put money on the Niners, and the Niners after that embarrassing loss. The Niners are going to sit there and show everybody what they really are.
All right, we're all together in that ship. All right, Panthers, Jaguars. Jaguars 6.5-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is going to play in this one. Dude, can they just like give that guy a week? Be like, dude, here's an ice pack, here's an ice bath, polar plunge. I don't know. Throw him, drive up to Chicago, throw him in the lake really quick. Like, just let that guy's body relax because that guy's taking a beating. but they're 6.5-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers. What do you think, Josh?
I think there should be a bet placed on one of these quarterbacks not finishing the game. Bryce Young gets the crap beaten out of him every week, and so does Trevor Lawrence. I like the Panthers to actually cover. I know they're obviously the worst team in the league on the road. They haven't won a game all year on the road, but the Jaguars are terrible. If you watch a Jaguars game, you want to throw up all over yourself. This team sucks. Panthers, I think, cover.
I'll go Jacksonville. I'll go different. I'll just go Jacksonville.
I'm going Jacksonville as well because I think Bryce Young is going to get just thrown in the dirt by Josh Allen and company throughout this game. Game of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. Over under 47. This could be the MVP game, even though we said that about like 8 times with 8 different games. So
Yep.
Josh, what do we think?
What's the point spread? You didn't get the spread.
3-point Ravens.
Okay. No
You go
Jalen
first,
Waddle
bro.
in this game. No Jalen
No
Waddle.
Waddle. Tyreek not 100%.
What do you think, Mario?
It disgusts me to say, but the Dolphins just don't really show up against really good teams. They don't really. I mean, the Cowboys is their big win, and like that's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't really count the Buffalo because it's a divisional game. The Ravens defense is a nightmare for everyone. I think no Waddle hurts the Dolphins. Tyreek not being 100% hurts the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a ground control. Ravens control it. I would also bet on the under. I think it's the Ravens handle this one, and then they take the 1 seed in AFC.
I'm with you. I think Ravens win this game. I'm interested to see if Kyle Hamilton plays. I think he's going to go, but if he doesn't play, that makes a huge difference. I think he's the best safety in the NFL this year. He's questionable right now, and Zay Flowers is questionable too. But if Kyle Hamilton doesn't play, I'm going to go Dolphins, but I'm going to assume he's going to play, so I'll go Ravens cover.
All 3 of us going Ravens.
Also, I think if you believe that the Dolphins will win, don't bet the money line, bet Tua MVP because he's going to have a really good game for him to win. So if you want a little better money. Titans, Texans. CJ Stroud is playing in this game. CJ Stroud is back for this matchup. So it's Texans 5.5-point favorites. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Texans because when CJ Stroud's in there, Josh, they're a playoff team. When he's not in there, they're an elementary school team.
Yeah, I'm going to go Titans just to be the opposite of you. I feel like we've picked a lot of the same teams. I'll just go Titans just for the fun of it. I'm going to assume CJ Stroud's not close to 100% and that he's not going to be himself. That's just me wishful thinking. So I'm going to go Titans.
Is Will Levis playing quarterback in this game? Or is it Tannehill?
I actually don't know. I'll look that up right now, though.
You know, one of the things we didn't talk about a couple of weeks ago, these 2 teams matched up, and it was Tennessee wearing the old Houston Oilers uniforms. Dude, it was such a D move to pull that move to wear the Oilers uniforms against the city. That was sad to see them leave. You know, it's like if you're watching that game, you're a Texans fan, but used to be an Oilers fan, and you're going, they're going to wear our old uniforms against us. Like, dude, it was a bad deal.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that. They never wore the Oilers uniforms in Tennessee.
They did when they first moved to Memphis before they were named the Titans. Yeah.
Oh, well, they weren't where they I can't talk. Did they wear them in Nashville?
Did they wear the Oilers? No, they were the Oilers.
Okay, they don't do it. That's just lame. It's a mean thing to do, and I'm usually not on that side of things, but that's just lame. How did the NFL allow that?
I think they did. I think the year they played at Vanderbilt before they had the stadium built, and they were the Titans. I think they did wear them one year, but because I think I saw Ryan Leaf play against them. Dude, it was something like, why would you do that? It's like watching your ex-wife win the lottery right in front of your face. Like, what the hell? You know, why would you do that? Did you find a quarterback or not, Mario? I asked you.
He practiced in full Wednesday, and he's still questionable, but I would expect him to play.
Okay, I'm gonna go Titans, man. I've picked the favorite almost every game. I'm going Titans in this one. Okay.
Yeah, I went Texans. So
yeah, you went Texans. Josh went Titans. Okay.
All right. So Steelers, Seahawks is next one. Pete Carroll versus Mike Tomlin. Hall of Fame coaching matchup in this one with 2 teams that are not the most talented. Right away, I think this is Seattle or nothing because there's no way Mason Rudolph has 2 good weeks in a row, right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he does that 2 weeks in a row, and I like the Seahawks to cover.
I'm sorry. Give me the number again. I'm sorry.
3.5
3.5.
for Seattle.
All right. I'm going Seattle too. Rudolph only worked on Christmas week. So I'm going that it's over. It's over. The magic's over.
Oh, I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
His nose was only bright on Christmas.
Is that only that 1 week, dude, that he had a chance.
He does have a schnoz on him for the Rudolph jokes, dude. Kid's gotta. I mean, he can smell all the coffee in Seattle.
Oh,
Brother.
boy.
It is a big nose. All right. Next one. Bengals Chiefs. Holy hell, do I think this spread is way too big? Also, Jamar Chase had a great quote today. Then I asked him about the secondary for the Chiefs. He said it's not like they have Jen Ramsey out there. So that's going to be fun. A little anger for the Chiefs side. But I really think Bengals can cover this 7. I know it's in Kansas City. That's pretty alarming. And, divisional game was weird with the Raiders. But, Josh, I just don't want to trust a Chiefs team right now. That seems very dysfunctional.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think the Bengals cover. I would like to know the last time the Chiefs lost 4 games at Arrowhead in one season. Seems like forever ago that's happened. They're 4-4 this year at Arrowhead. I like the Bengals to cover.
I'm going to go opposite of you guys. I'm going KC. That's crazy.
Okay.
It's a big number, but I'm going KC.
Have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking Mahomes over Browning. Call me crazy, but okay.
I mean, people took Mahomes over AOC.
That's true.
It's true.
That's true.
Back to fiction. All right. Packers Vikings. Pretty much a pick 'em in this one.
Really?
Packers with a slight lead at 1 point favorite. No Alexander in this game because he wanted to be captain and then almost messed up the coin toss. So, Josh, do you think Justin Jefferson can lead the Vikings to victory in this?
Yes. I think Justin Jefferson has over 150 yards, and he makes it hurt. Jair Alexander said, "I want to be the captain now," and the Packers said no. And I think Justin Jefferson makes him pay for it. And I don't understand the line here, Mario. At one point,
I don't either.
When the game's at home and you have the best receiver in the world on your team, I like the Vikings to win.
I do too.
I'm not gonna say go that team, but give me Green Bay.
Dude, for a guy
Dude,
who
you
hates the
always
Packers,
pick the
I swear to God, you
Packers.
pick them every week.
I know, and it feels really good when they lose.
Justify your pick. Why?
Justify to your family.
I trust Jordan Love more than I trust Nick Mullins, even on the road. And I think just watching what I saw from Nick Mullins past couple weeks, I'm not really confident in his ability to beat the Packers. And I think LaFleur is feeling the heat from all directions. And it's more of I gotta win to make sure I have a job next year. And I think O'Connell has more of a safety net where they're going, this is kind of a season of hell from us. And you're so very respected minded in the league. So I think it's desperation for one side and another side of I'm going to be here no matter what. So I think that's my side.
Good luck to the Packers finding a coach that can do better with Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed and Luke Musgrave and A.J. Dillon and Jordan Love. If you could think you're going to find a coach out there that's done better than he has with that team, good luck.
Yeah. All right. Chargers, Broncos, Stidham, Broncos, 3.5 point favorites in Mile High, over under 36.5. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Take the under, take the under, take the under, take the under. Stick looked terrible in his first game against the Broncos. The Chargers offense just looked terrible. I don't think they'll be able to do much in this one. Two teams that, like I said, they're probably going to see each other in Cancun. I guess Chargers cover. Like, I guess if I had to pick. But in reality, I think just take the under and watch out for Tully because I think Tully can get a lot of sacks in this.
Tully hasn't done much in the last 7 games. I looked at his stats the other day, so hopefully he has a big game and shows back up. I think the Chargers lose by 3 at the end, so they'll cover. And my prediction is going to be 16-13 Broncos.
Hold on, Josh going 16-13. Hold on a second. What was your number, Mario? Did you give a point spread? A point final score?
I'll go. Oh, God. 14-12. All field goals by the Chargers.
Okay. 14-12. Okay. I'm going Chargers 24-17.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
how about that? And I tell you what, it's the only game I think in NFL history where there's not going to be one jersey of the starting quarterback from either team in the stands.
Ooh,
Ooh,
that's a good one.
point.
I like that. Nice.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Bama, Michigan. Final score predictions.
Oh, I hate doing this.
I want to hear yours
Go ahead.
first, Mario.
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Ooh. Alrighty. I'll go 35-27 Bama.
All right, I'm gonna go 42-17 Alabama.
Wow. You think they really whoop up on them?
Yes.
Dude, I love Josh's pick, honestly, on that one. I'll tell you what, I'll even go crazier. I'll go 42-13 Bama.
Wow.
I also know I sound like real punk on
look
this
at
show.
Nick
Being
Saban
so
when he
confident,
prepares for
but
these
I
games.
am.
Look at Nick
Yeah.
Saban when he prepares for these games. He gave him 3 weeks to prepare for this matchup. Did he hate
And a lot
Jim
of them,
Harbaugh?
and a lot of
Dude, he does
yeah.
hate Jim Harbaugh. People don't. I don't know if
Yeah.
people know how much Saban does not like Jim Harbaugh.
Plus, I feel like Harbaugh gave him too much motivation.
Dude,
I don't know
over and
why he
over
said that.
again. Yeah, Saban loves
Yeah.
that stuff.
They had a problem when I was at Alabama with Michigan. Michigan was like doing a satellite camp in Alabama that really pissed the people off at Alabama, pissed off the people at Alabama. So I know they really want to win. I know they played a couple years ago. I think it was in Orlando. It was one of the bowl games that wasn't the playoff, and Alabama boat raced them with Mac Jones. So I'm just hoping it happens again.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the playing their game against them just never goes well. Like only Kirby Smart really did that well.
You got to
And that's-
recruit. You got to recruit those type of players if you want to play that type of game. The only
Yeah.
teams that consistently can put up with Alabama in their style, I would say, is LSU and Georgia. I don't know if Michigan could do that.
And to your point with LSU, I feel like it's 1 in every 4 years with LSU. Like it's not every
is.
year. You know, yeah.
It is, and they'll bring in, and LSU does a good job of bringing in guys that are like generational players. Like they have Malik Neighbors this past year, then you get Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. But yeah, the one thing with LSU is they're not consistent. They do it every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, do you
By
think
the way-
Washington's a lock? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to ask you, Mario. For me, being in Southern California most of my life, whenever I watch the Rose Bowl on TV, you know, the way the game starts out, the sun's out. You notice the big rose right in the middle of the field. The grass is green as can be. You have the San Gabriel Mountains in the background, and then I'm like, this is the coolest setup for college football. And then the sun sets, and that game always ends in the dark. When you guys are watching that in the Midwest, do you guys go, man, that looks pretty cool, or do you guys even care? Like, you know, for years it was always Michigan, Ohio State trying to get to the Rose Bowl when it was, you know, obviously the Pac-10 against the Big Ten.
So funny you say that. People in the Midwest love the Rose Bowl. Like love the like that's my favorite. That was my favorite bowl game growing up to watch. Like I always loved the Rose Bowl. I even said I had to do like my college shows when I was in college. I always said I think they should just say screw you to all the bowls and make the Rose Bowl the ultimate championship because there's so much history to it. It looks so good. You have the parade like right before leading into it. It's like, come on, it's the Mecca. Like to me, it's the best.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
there's
agree.
a close second. It has to be Rose Bowl number one. And I don't know what would number two be. What would you say is the second best bowl game?
There's nothing like it, man. I mean, it's funny.
What's the other big ones? Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, those just don't compare to me.
No.
Fiesta Bowl's a joke. No, it's Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl are the ones people used to always talk about. Back in the day, that's always what you did on New Year's Day. You watch those games. But it's funny, the Rose Bowl as a stadium's, you know, old and everything else. But the people I know in the TV industry will tell you that it's the best stadium for television. The way the cameras, where they go, that if you're watching the game on TV, that the sight lines for the cameras give it the best TV show of all time for college football. But it's funny, Kirk Herbstreit, who's an Ohio State guy, says that's his favorite place to go, and he has his own private booth there at the Rose Bowl, the Kirk Herbstreit booth. It's kind of crazy that they bent over backwards for that one guy, but it's a cool setup, man. No joke. It's a pretty cool setup.
I think it also helped, just for people like around me and Josh's age, like the Rose Bowl growing up, like the USC Texas was so sick,
Big.
right? And then like the Brady Quinn one was even, harsh reality for the Notre Dame fans, but like that was like a fun one to see. And like the Saquon Barkley, I still remember him like walking down the tunnel of when they got shellacked. Like it's cool to, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff to it. I think that makes it spectacular.
I think the game a couple years ago was the best Rose Bowl game since the USC Texas game, where you had Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma against Georgia. That was an insane game. That was one of the best Rose Bowl games.
Yeah.
It's also sad too that when they win that, it doesn't mean as much anymore. Like they give them the roses and the trophy, but like it really doesn't mean anything.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why this game's different, because it's part of the the Final Four teams. That's what makes it kind of cool this year.
Mario's right though. Yeah. The Rose Bowl should be the national championship game every year. It's just the biggest bowl game. It doesn't make any sense to have it as the semifinal. Yeah. When I was at Alabama, everybody was dying to have the Rose Bowl, and Alabama rarely ever plays in the Rose Bowl.
Dude, I was literally about to say, when's the last time they played in the Rose Bowl? Like, because
they beat Texas for the national championship, but it wasn't the Rose Bowl. The game was in the Rose Bowl, but it wasn't the Rose Bowl. But when they beat Colt McCoy for the national championship,
oh yeah, when he got hurt.
Yeah, whatever.
Didn't Alabama beat down Notre Dame in the playoff at the Rose Bowl?
No, that was in Miami. That was in Miami. And then they beat him again in Dallas.
I was at a Notre Dame bar when that happened, and that was a very funny.
Yeah. Well, if he was at a bar, that game was in Dallas, I'm pretty sure, Josh.
Nah, 2021, Alabama beat Notre Dame at the Rose Bowl.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, 31-14. I'm looking at it. 2021 Rose Bowl. Yes.
Yeah. I don't recall that.
I've
heard of any of this.
Probably in my lifetime, that was the second most amount of money I've ever put on a bet on Bama, and I was the most hated man in that bar. Because if you thought I have a big mouth, I have a really big mouth when I'm winning a lot of money, and I am the only one in the room. And I was doubling down on every opinion I've ever had. Oh my God. I didn't think I was going to get out there alive for a little bit.
That's funny as hell. All right. We're going to be back then, of course, after the Charger Broncos game. We'll do a post-game show. We'll talk about the Chargers and Broncos. And also, of course, that will lead in. That'll be Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, right? And then we'll be back, of course, on January 2nd. We'll have a chance to talk a little bit about the Rose Bowl and the college football playoff. But, of course, we're going to talk about the Chargers heading into their last game of the season against the Chiefs. A lot of things to look at with the NFL playoff picture. We do want your comments and your predictions on the score. Chargers, do they win? Chargers, what is the score against the Broncos? Again, we will be back as soon as that game is over. We will have a special show for you guys. Chargers, Broncos, 1:25 kickoff Pacific time, ready to go. So if you're listening on the Bolt City podcast through the Odyssey app, thank you very much. YouTube comments, and you watch the show on YouTube, we greatly appreciate that as well. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you in a couple days.